Okay, good day and welcome to Gaming with the Colonel. I'm Sean Moran, and what I'm going to talk to you about today is Mark Simonich's Stalingrad 42 by GMT Games. I got it shortly after Christmas, and it's my first Mark Simonich game, and I just finished playing the Fall Blau scenario yesterday. And I thought I would do a quick video so I can clean her all up. What I thought I'd do is I'm not going to discuss rules or even really do an overview or a playthrough. If you're looking for that sort of stuff, I would highly recommend you go check out Dad vs. Son, Blue Tweezers, or Wise Guy History, or even the Player's Aid. Of course, the Player's Aid. They've made some great videos, and I really enjoyed watching Dad vs. Son play his playthroughs of Stalingrad 42 Fall Blau. I'm gonna watch his caucus one too for that caucus scenario, because it was just fun to have it set up, watch him go through it, and it really helped me get through the game. So shout out to him. What I want to do is talk about this game and why I think it's a great game, and it's what I call a traditional hex and counter war game, you know, with so much more. And I believe even Alexander from Player's Aid, him and Grant, they were on the video together. You know, Alexander said the same thing. It's like a classic traditional hex and counter war game. He, I think, has less appeal for Russian front type things because I think what he called the, you know what's going to happen. You know, the Germans beat up on the Russians at the beginning, and then, you know, eventually going to lose kind of thing. So I think there's maybe that's less appealing for him. Not for me. I love the whole historical context of that and what goes on. So, but anyways, check out those videos because they did a great job doing that. So I just want to give you a reference frame of what sort of East Front games I've played. Russian campaign, Avalon Hill, still one of my favorites. I'll still pull it out at least once a year anyways. Just a fun game. East Front, the first edition by Columbia Games. Leningrad, Decision Games. Third Reich, Avalon Hill. I'm going to call that a Russian front game just because, come on, I mean, the majority of it is about the Germans attacking the Russian front. Panzerkrieg by Avalon Hill, one of my favorites. I did a video on it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And then the classic Stalingrad by Avalon Hill, one of the granddaddy of games. Those are the games that I've played that I'll call Russian front games. I'm not going to mention Squad Leader or scenarios like that I've done on Russian front. I'm just going to talk about those six is what. Sorry, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to say those six are kind of my reference frame for Russian front games. So, what do you get out of this game? The production value for GMT is absolutely amazing. I mean, the counter qualities, the CRT players aids, the charts. I mean, they're great. You know what I'm not used to getting in a game, which I thought was fantastic here, is, you know, these additional counters that you get. This is a full retreat counter or disruption. What happens when somebody retreats? They're automatically disrupted. You know, or if they can get hit so hard they can be in a full retreat. Just really neat stuff like that. Automatic defender shattered counters. There's some other stuff like city fights. I don't even have them all out, you know, here right now because I only played the Fall Blau scenario. Which I'll say something about that too. I think I can get both maps for the campaign game on this board or this table I've got. But it's going to be a little tight. I'm going to have to move some stuff around, but I look forward to doing that. What else? What I want to say about this? The historical value. I mean, they do a great job in the production of the maps and whatnot, but like the detail that went into designing this game and the counters and stuff like that. Like you've got the Slovaks, you've got obviously the Romanians, you've got the Italians. You know, they went through a lot of detail and research to figure out what should go into this game. In fact, I was trying to see if I could find it right now. It's probably in the playbook. Mark Simonich cites for references what books and things that he'd looked up to actually. Oh yeah, he's got a bibliography in the back of this thing. It's a full page. I don't know. There's like 50 books in here that he's read or researched about this stuff. You know, Endgame at Stalingrad, Battle for the Caucasus, the Italian Royal Army and Mussolini's wars. I mean, come on. There was a lot that went into this. Complexity. There's a fair number of rules. In fact, what's the page? Okay, start to finish, the rule book is 31 pages, but that includes scenario stuff and, you know, whatever, right? It's really well laid out, and it's I didn't really have to search for rules. One or two times there was a rule like, oh geez, I can't remember where I read that, and I did have to figure it out, but nothing like, I'm talking a couple of minutes. I wasn't like sitting there for half an hour trying to figure out where that rule was. Like he did a really good job of that. I was very, very impressed. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this game and sort of why I like it and what you're getting out of it in comparison to some of those other games. So the Russian campaign by Avalon Hill. One of the things that I think we probably all really liked was that second impulse that you get. You know, wasn't that brilliant? You do one attack, and then your armored units or your mech units get to attack again, so you can achieve those breakthroughs and those punches and whatnot, as well as Stukas, you know, that you got to use in that game. What other things from Russian campaign were enjoyable? Replacement units that you would get, especially important for the Russians. Well, this game achieves those things and more. If you're successful in your combat, you get an advance after combat, and you're able to continue that and continue attacks. You can actually continue attacks up to a certain, I think, limit on movement, where basically it's sort of recreating that whole second impulse, not to mention the Leningrad overrun attack system, where you can keep doing overrun attacks with armor, you know, with one stack. But you can, so it achieves that with this, let's call it when the defender has to surrender, the attacker can continue to attack. You've got to watch your limits and don't get overreach or whatnot, but it achieves that. I mean, I guess you could say Third Reich sort of had that with exploitation, and Panzerkrieg definitely had that with exploitation, which were kind of neat things that, you know, I liked about those games. And well, this game, Stalingrad 42, achieves that and more. You know, and when your units are retreated, or even fall, or they get disrupted, and they can even get into what's called a full retreat. I just showed you that counter. So there's another edition called Artillery Support Units. I've just called them kind of headquarters, and you can use them to basically add a shift in your combat results table in your favor with artillery. Very nice touch. And you can only use it and you flip it, and then you have to have a supply unit moved up, or if you've got a supply unit hopefully underneath that unit, then you can just discard the supply unit and still use that ASU for the next time. That was a great touch. It really added to the game. You can use resource points for offensive preparation, which was kind of cool, because what that meant is that you would get everything ready. You could place, at some point in the sequence of the game, you put down this offensive prep marker, and it allows you to roll 2 dice, and you get to choose which die roll you're going to use for that particular combat. Very cool. The CRT is well laid out. It's well thought out, and, you know, going from the days of Stalingrad, and again, you know, my reference frames are that and Leningrad Panzerkrieg, where, you know, CRTs were really about odds, and Stalingrad was just a bloody one, right? You're eliminating people, or you're doing a lot of nothing. So this one allowed you to make attacks. You know, maybe it's favorable, maybe you're doing okay. If you got favorable odds, you're still going to keep moving forward, I guess is the best way to say that. But it also gives the defender the ability to do what's called a determined defense, which makes it very playable for the Russians. You're not just sitting there getting pounded the entire time. You're actually, you can do some things. And the Russians can use the same combat results table for their advantage when they can counterattack, because they could take risks with not the best odds and still have a serious effect on delaying the Germans, which would make the German player have to think about what they were doing and, you know, not just bust through and let themselves get surrounded. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna sort of pause and just sort of show you sort of what happened in my game, just for fun, and then I'll sort of close out. Okay, so a quick orientation. So over here we've got Kharkov, Voronezh, Stalino, Rostov down here in the south. And again, this is just the first map. You'd have well behind me, behind the camera here, would be a whole other map that would take you right to Stalingrad. Not to mention in the far south, you've got another 2 maps that you can use for the Caucasus scenario. So what happened is the Russians basically set up on a defensive line, and they get this fortification effect here for this. What you might not be able to see is basically a red shaded line where their defensive position started. I spent a fair amount of time in the north, and I would say by the way, the Russians won this game. I only got 5 victory points, and you needed to get 8 as the Germans. And I started basically focusing more up north around Voronezh, and I shouldn't have, because really what happens is there's this major river. Which river is that? I should know this. I can't see right now on the map. Anyways, that really is going to stop you from attacking across Voronezh. So I tried to actually sweep down a little bit here to try to flank, when really what I should have done is focused, totally going down this more of an open plain, and maybe even spending more time on Rostov, which I didn't do. I was learning the rules and having fun doing it anyways. What did end up happening is I did end up busting through sort of down here and making some great gains with some of my German Panzer units over here. But in the end, the real objectives were like Voronezh and Rostov, which I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was just having fun moving stuff around and doing it. But it's a great Fall Blau is a great scenario to learn this stuff. It's only 8 turns, and you get to do the replacements and the supply and all that good stuff. I think I hit on most of the rules. This one I think doesn't have any leaders in it, so I haven't played with that yet. But definitely I got to do supply. Definitely got to do replacements, resource points, and I encircled a couple of people. There was some isolation rules, movement of railroads, that sort of thing. So that all seemed to go pretty well. So again, 8 turns. Like I said, I thought I made some okay gains, but not enough. I did in fact take Rostov, but only like in the second last turn, and it was a bit of a slog. I was depending on the Axis allies for that, and I probably should have beefed them up a bit more. Used a lot of the artillery support units though to get that added benefit of a shift. So that was really good. So just in closing, I really like this game. I can see playing it often, other than needing the space for the big campaign. It's like I said at the beginning, it's a classic hex and counter war game with so many additions. It's like they've taken all the best stuff of every game and put it into this one. And I'm assuming this is the same with his other, the other games he's got in the series. It really feels like it's been modernized. The rules are great. It was dynamic. It was fun. Now, I will say I've got limited experience playing chit pull games, but I don't gravitate towards them. So for me, playing a game like this with a CRT and a classic hex and counter, it's just a joy to play. I do have Carl Paradis' No Retreat French and Polish fronts. I've played it a couple of times. I like it. There's a lot to it, and it's not a bit much. I mean, I will play it again. I definitely enjoyed it, but this just feels more familiar, into that whole sort of classic hex and counter. And I, like everybody else who started way back when, I really appreciated that. I can definitely see getting more of Mark Simich's games. I'm really tempted to get the Normandy one, but we'll see. I mean, I've heard good things about all of them, so I don't know yet. Anyways, that's all I've got. This is Stalingrad 42 GMT Games by Mark Simonich. Next up for me, I think because I mentioned before that I was going to play Bobby Lee by Columbia Games and So maybe do not a comparison, but just sort of comment about that after I've played Sam Grant. So I might do that. What I did pull out though was a first edition Columbia Games East Front, because I'm on a bit of an East Front kick right now. So I might just try to do that too. We'll see. We'll see what happens next. Please leave me some comments. This obviously was not an overview or anything. I was just sort of telling you what I liked about this game, because there's so many other great videos out there. Please check them out about how to play this game and give this one a try. It's great. I can't say enough about it. Just excited to have it and have it on the board and having played it. And I'll look forward to getting it on the board again with maybe the big campaign. We'll see what happens. Okay, take care. Please leave me some comments, and we'll talk to you again soon.